For this tutorial, we are going to work on sharpening our photograph. This is straight out of camera. It's really lacking in warmth and everything that I've taught you guys so far, but I just wanted to work on some sharpening. Sharpening helps to give a little oomph to your photograph. You could have the perfect lens, the perfect shutter speed and everything, but we're human. We're not going to get it perfect every single time. You're going to have a little bit of softness in your photographs. So one of the things that I like to do is use an unsharpmask filter. It sounds kind of weird, unsharp. You think you want to sharpen it. Well, it kind of depends. It's the way that it works is that it helps to define the edges and it unsharps them so that the image is sharp. It's all this mumbo jumbo, but just let me show you. So we've got Kristen here. We're going to duplicate our layer. That way we have it twice because we want to be able to lower the opacity if needed. We're going to go to Filter up at the top, Sharpen, and Unsharp Mask. You've got all these other options. You have Sharpen, Sharpen Edges, Sharpen More, Smart Sharpen, and Unsharpen Mask. You could use Smart Sharpen and adjust opacity, and you might be okay. It's kind of trial and error. I try to stay away from as much of the auto Photoshop options as possible, and try to manipulate it all myself. So let's just go ahead and click on our Unsharp Mask, and this is going to be so relatively simple. You guys are going to be like, wow, I wish I had used this. Alright, so let me move her around. Let's just use her eye as a good sharpening. Alright, so let's go back down the amount of 0. If you look in the box, it probably might be kind of hard to see on mine, but I want you to play with this when you guys get in there. Her eye is soft. I've got good catch lights. I have sharpness, quote unquote, in the sense that it's in focus, but it's not sharp enough for me. I want a little bit sharper. Her eyes are amazing. So I've got my amount on 1%, radius on 1.0 pixels, and the threshold. I don't touch the threshold unless I'm doing dramatic sharpening. I stick with the radius. And the radius is kind of depend on how close you are to the subject and how far away. It's one of those things that you need to play with. When I'm up close, I want the smallest amount of radius possible, because what it's doing is it's going to take X number of pixels, however many that you input in there, and it's going to sharpen those together, and it's going to run little masks all on those. I don't want to have to worry about there being big blobs on her face. I want the smallest possible. In portraits, you want to be more delicate and more fine-tuned than if you were just running it on a landscape or a cityscape is actually what I was thinking of. Alright, so now I've got my amount on 1%. You can see with her eye, it's pretty soft. So let's just pull it up to about 50 and let's look at it. That sharpened it up. And now here's a trick that you can do. Without having to move your slider too much, once you have already adjusted it to the percentage that you want, instead of having to do the before and after, press OK, turn off the background copy, you can stay in the Unsharp Mask and you'll get a little hand over the eye so that you're allowed to move it around, which I have done right here. But if you hold it down, it will show you the original. If you let go of it, it gives you the sharpened. And this is very slight. I can see it. You guys might not be able to see it on this copy, but just play with it and look for it. Press and hold your mouse down. You'll see the soft original. Unclick it and you'll get the sharpened. So I'm at 52. I'm going to try to come up a little bit more. And I'm going to stop at 84. So let me look at my before. Pretty soft. And after. I don't want to do too much. When you're working with portraiture, and especially when you have lines and wrinkles like most faces do, whether you're young and old, you're going to have lines, creases from smiling, frowning, facial expressions, whatever. You're going to have lines. Well, you want those to be soft lines, not heavy, dark lines. Of course, you could always take those out, which with this photograph, as you can see, she does have some bags under her eyes from the way that she was smiling and looking towards the sun, and I did reduce those like I showed you guys before, but I also want to be able to make sure that I have the sharpness. So I just can kind of play around with this, go back down to 50, look at the eye, that's still too soft for me, so let me go up to, let's see, 92, original, there. And one of the problems, and I don't know if you can see it here, look at her eye, ignore the crease part, but you can see the pores. If I leave it at 92, she's going to look very porous. All those pores are going to stand out. Sure, you can run a skin smoother, but remember, we want to do the least amount possible to our photographs. So let's just pull this back down, and I'm going to stay about 54 to sharpen it. I'm not 100% thrilled with it, but I'm okay with it. And press OK. And now it's going to run the unsharp mask for me, and it did. So let's look at the before and now. It's very, very slight. You'd have to look very close for it. And you could run it again. Well, now here's, if you want to go a little bit even further, if you wanted to sharpen for the eyes, there's actions out there that are possible. But I want to preserve the sharpening that I just did. You can't see that big of a difference until you zoom in. Let's see if I can zoom in so you guys can see it. And without and with. It's very slight. I definitely see it around her eyes. Alright, so let's zoom back out, and I'm going to show you how to just so you sharpen with just the eyes, you're using masking. So let's flatten our image, and we're going to duplicate our layer again, and we're going to up the unsharp mask. So let's duplicate layer, filter, sharpen, unsharp mask, and now I want to bring it up probably to about that 90. Let's see the eyes. Let me see one eye. Let's bring it up to about the 90 and press OK. Now, it didn't destroy her skin too much. I could leave it, but just for sake purposes, I'm going to apply a mask, and if it's revealing everything. And actually, what I want to do is I want to change the mask. Alright, my computer's not letting me do it. Alright, well, let me just do it like this. So it's revealing everything, and I want to hide everything else. Now, this will take longer than if I had the black mask. My computer is being finicky. It's not allowing me to do it. But you guys remember from the previous lessons how you could do that. Alright, so I want to hide everything else. So I'm going to hide all these areas around here just by painting around. And I want to try to keep the eyes. So I'm just going to leave the eyes unpainted for the sharpening. Just get all these areas. This takes longer than if I just had the black mask, but for some reason it's not giving me my option, and I'll have to figure that out. And there we go. So we've got it without and with, and I can very slightly see it. Alright, if you have any questions about the unsharp mask, just let me know.